want to play better golf? Of course you do. Well, here are 3 easy ways to do it. 1. Open your smartphone and look for the podcast app. 2. Open the podcast app and search Breaking Par with Bernard Sheridan. 3. Subscribe and never miss an episode of great golf instructor interviews from around the world. A new guest every week, like David Ledbetter, Brian Manzella, Dr. Sashow McKenzie, James Siegman, just to name a few. Hear their insight as they deliver their wisdom of the game. Take control of your game. Subscribe today. Your game will thank you for it.
Welcome to Breaking Par with Bernard Sheridan, the golf instruction podcast that helps you take control of your game. Now, here's your host, the founder of Par Breakers Golf Academy and certified Golf Channel Swing Fix instructor, Bernard Sheridan.
John, welcome to Breaking Par. Thanks so much for taking the time out to be with us today.
Thanks for having me, Bernard. I appreciate it very much.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I mean, you know, we've known each other for quite a while now, and as talking about being a true gentleman of the game, you were definitely one of those. You have always been made, at least when I first met you when you were at Aronimink, you always made me feel like I've known you your whole life. And you have a very personal way about you that is always a pleasure to be around.
Thank you very much. Same for you.
Well, thanks.
Easy to get along with. Thank you.
Yeah, you know, I definitely feel that way about you, and everybody, and I think too that over the past few years, a lot of the things that you're doing have helped me so much in when you host folks like Mike Adams at your club and things like that, and you let me know about it, and then I was able to take the opportunity to follow up on that. And if it wasn't for you, I probably wouldn't have had that opportunity. So I thank you very much for that.
Thanks for saying that. That's a pretty good seminar, huh?
That was an awesome seminar. So, and for those of our listeners who don't know who Mike Adams is, Mike Adams actually is a top 100 instructor and does biomechanics and does a course with a gentleman named E.A. Tischler, who we've been trying to nail down as a guest also. And John is who introduced me to Mike, and I've learned a tremendous amount from Mike Adams, and well, from a lot of things that you've done too, John.
Thanks. Mike is one of the, yeah, I'm sure people don't realize it, but probably our Golf Pro folks will know that he's one of the very first pioneers into golf biomechanics. He and Dr. Jim Suddy, you know, started this whole thing with, oh no, I've just lost his name. Gideon Ariel was one of the first guys doing biomechanics. So he's, you know, he's really scary smart, but great to talk to, and good to bounce ideas off of. Like, I talk to him almost every week.
Yeah, I know that there's a lot of guys in the industry who most people, other than gentlemen like yourself and people who are involved deep in knowledge in the golf industry, who don't know a lot about these guys and who are, like you said, scary smart. They're super brains, and it's really a great time to be involved in instruction and to be learning these things.
Well, I tell everybody I think this is just about the most exciting time to be a golf teacher or coach ever. We're starting to actually know stuff rather than teach it. Well, that's how I've always taught it. You know, it's really cool. To me, it is very enjoyable to be studying this kind of stuff as the information's coming out. You know, we have the Penn State Biomechanics Lab, Mike Duffy and Eric Hambley with the PGM, the PGA Golf Professional Management Program, and I mean, it's for us, you and I, it's three and a half hours away. So I've spent some time in there with those guys, and it's just, you know, the thing about these guys, I don't know why they'd put up with me, but I'll take it. But the fact that I can call somebody like Sashow McKenzie up, which I've done, and ask him questions, or bug Mike Duffy, And Dr. Kwan, I went to visit him. That's Chris Como's, master's advisor and teacher. It's and these folks, Phil Cheatham, same deal. Rob Neal, same deal. These guys are, as far as I know, the leaders in golf biomechanics, and they're absolutely happy to help guys like you and I.
Yep. I agree. I mean, and I've had some of them as guests on the show. I've had Dr. Robert Neal, and I've had some other guys too. And these guys are, well, we know Sasha was just on last week, so it's and this show will be on probably in about 2 months from the time that we're taping it, because there's quite amount of shows that I have, I want to say, in the can, and ready to go. And I did that so that when it gets super busy, because now that's when it's starting to happen in the Philadelphia area, where we are, then I won't have to worry about having to do the shows on Mondays. They'll be ready to go, and I can just release them.
Makes sense. Don't let me follow somebody like Sasha. I'll sound real dumb.
He was actually on literally last week, so you're going to be on in about 10 to 12 weeks. So you're going to be on sometime in the middle of the summer is when your show will be, and when probably somewhere around the U.S. Open, who we're hoping that one of the guys who you work with does very well.
Well, wouldn't that be fun?
He's since he's been with you, he's really, I mean, he's back on the map at least, and people know who he is again, and that's really quite a feather in your cap there.
It is, I can't lie. It is really cool to see that, for lack of a better term, my coaching process works at that level. And Sean is a great guy, and I just like being around him. To see him go from where he was to what he's thinking about now. Now he's thinking, it's really, really cool, because he was a little bit lost and not playing good golf, and now he's thinking, I want more top tens. And he wants top 25 to be basically his average, and he's real close to that now. He's really close. So it's been, for my family and I, plus everybody at White Manor Country Club, that's where I teach, everybody's just thrilled. It's really cool.
Well, I think everybody who knows you, I'm thrilled to death for you. I think it's fantastic. It couldn't happen to a nicer guy. And I know that there's a lot of people in the Philadelphia section and who know you and feel the same way. I mean, it's just great to see someone from our area be able to have that opportunity and actually make good on it. And that's really the great thing about it.
Yeah, well, maybe it shows that there are more good golf coaches in the world than maybe we get credit for.
I think there's plenty of them. I think that, and that's part of the reason why I have this show, is to bring guys like you out into the public eye even more, and because you absolutely deserve it, and I know too that you work your tail off all the time, and I mean, every time I talk to you or I see you, you're always taking notes and learning more, and I mean, it's and getting involved and studying stuff and talking to this guy and talking to that guy and finding out this and asking questions, and when we're at seminars, you're always very involved and asking questions, and that's why you're actually just kind of taking off right now. It's kind of like a little rocket ship to who knows where it'll end up. Yeah, it's just like overnight success, right? It's probably like 20-year overnight success.
Right.
So, and that's, it's awesome. It's just really fantastic to see. So tell us a little bit about some of the things that you did, and for those of our listeners who don't know really who we're talking about, we were talking about Sean O'Hare, who recently tied for first and at a PGA Tour event. I want to say it was the Valero?
Valspar.
The Valspar. Okay. So it was the event before that. So it was the Valspar, and he got into a tie with Jordan Spieth and one other gentleman too. Yes.
Patrick Reed.
Patrick Reed. Okay.
Yeah. And he lipped out that damn putt on 17, and he called me afterwards. He goes, "I made that putt." And when I watched it, it was going in the whole way. But well, such is luck.
Well, that's true. I mean, and that's just shows you that at any level, at any level of play, anything can happen, and for him to to come back like after actually not even being on tour for a little while, and then make a showing like that is really quite a tribute to the man and to yourself.
Well, thank you. We started working together a year and a half ago or more. The first time he lost his card and had to go back to the web.com finals. And then he did real well. Got his card back pretty easily. And then, had 4 months of some really, really, really good golf. And then, Sean Foley had an opening, finally, and I didn't realize he always wanted to go back to Sean, and so I got fired. So back then we started, what are you going to do? And then later in the year we went back and forth a little bit more, and in the fall he ended up getting off the tour and having to go back again. So, we started working together again, and it was really cool because he was really down and not playing good golf at all in the first of the web.com finals. And then he 3-putted the last hole a week after we started working together again to miss a playoff on the third event.
Wow.
And we were sitting on his couch at his house, and he goes, 3 days, man. And I'm like, what? He goes, well, 3 days. I couldn't play golf before, and in 3 days, I should have won that tournament. He had 3-putted 5 times, which he just doesn't do. But it kind of is a testament to how good he really is. But it really is a matter of chasing the perfect swing versus your swing's good enough, let's go hit some golf shots with it. And so we've only had to do minor swing work. Well, to me it's major. To him it probably felt major. But in reality it's a slight different position at the top. And then it was all about, remembering what do we like about golf. We like trying to hit the ball, through this window to the target. And the only thing I really did for him was change his putting process and just get him back to playing golf shots again with a, a different swing too. Yeah, it was certainly, don't believe what you hear about that stuff. I told my buddies, it wasn't just that. We had to do some swing work.
Sure. Well, I mean, that's always the mark of a great instructor. Is he's always humble and saying, "Oh, I didn't do that much," but there's plenty that you did, and that's for sure. So, and just like when you're working with other players who aren't quite as high a caliber, there's probably a lot of things that you're using that are similar that you use with Sean. Am I correct in assuming that?
I think that it doesn't matter what level they're at. I almost always coach them the same way. So I'm going at this from a somewhat different point of view. The first thing I ever said to Sean was, what if there is no golf swing? What if what everybody's telling you what they think about a golf swing, they really just kind of made up and don't have a real good scientific proof that this is a better way to swing the club than anything else is? And he shot 64 in one of the tournaments, and he called me and goes, so what if there is no golf swing? It was really kind of cool. So, that's one of the things the instructor does the swing make the shot, or does the shot make the swing? So I prefer to go, and 10 years ago this wasn't the case, but I prefer to go, well, here are the skills of golf. With putting. Is the putting stroke a skill? Nope. It might be a means toward a skill, but it certainly isn't the skill itself. There are plenty of guys. I just watched. I was out at the Valero, and Sean played a practice round with Jimmy Walker, who doesn't suck at golf. And I'm walking with the guys, two other guys, the second day, Jimmy Walker the first day, and I watched Jimmy Walker dead pull slice every putt. If he was on my sand putt lab, he would not have scored very high, except the ball kept going in the hole. So, to my mind, I like the ball going in the hole a lot. And if the stroke gets the ball, the job is to get the ball on your line at the right speed and read greens well. If you can do that, your stroke's good enough. When Sean went from 180th in putting, strokes gained, to as high as 11th, and we never looked at his putting stroke. Where, before then he might have always thought about his putting stroke. And I didn't. It took 3 months before I got him on the sand putt lab, and I did that only to show him how good his putting stroke was when he wasn't thinking about his putting stroke.
So technology, and what we're saying about technology here is that everything doesn't have to be perfect in order for things to work, and that you don't have to try to just make everything exactly on a number, unless it may be a number that player, that number works for them consistently. So then you might try to get them to get back to that number.
That's a better way of doing it. I would say that Rob Neal, friend of ours.
Yes.
Great guy. I think I want to say that it was Justin Rose. And they had him on the full 3D suit.
Right.
Guy never set up twice the same way.
No kidding. I didn't know that.
We're not machines.
Yeah.
He never even set up the same way twice.
How about that?
Yeah. So think about it. And the idea of perfect swing, I think, is I wish there was one. But guess what? The Ping robot doesn't repeat the same firing sequence every time. What the hell chances do we have
right.
of making a perfect swing twice in a row? Plus, the playing field keeps changing. So I'd rather have a guy that knows how to use a golf club. In fact, I think I'm now a fan of swings with warts. JB Holmes, funky looking golf swing. I love it. I don't mind the idiosyncrasies in golf swings whatsoever. Maybe those are what make them good. I don't know if anybody ever thought of that one, but maybe those are the ones, those little funky moves, Jim Furyk swing. Maybe that's why he's good. He's not good in spite of it. Maybe that's what made him good.
Well,
he told me
I'm
years
sorry.
ago.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Keep going.
He told me years ago at Hartfeld National that was the only way he could get the club to come down from the inside.
For him.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, fine.
Yep. So I mean,
wrong.
To get back to what we were talking about earlier, biomechanics, and how that, especially Mike Adams at least showed us, that there's all different ways that players do things, and their swing doesn't have to be like perfect in what you think is a perfect swing. It has to be perfect for what their body wants to do and how their body operates, so that they can get it fairly repetitively. And it doesn't have to be exactly, but it wants to be where they feel comfortable, and then that helps also raise their confidence level, which I'm sure a lot of what was going on with Sean, get that confidence level back up, and then off they go, and they're running, and who knows what can happen if they start to let loose.
Right. Well, Chuck Evans, as far as I know, very good friend of mine, longtime mentor of mine. I think he coined the phrase swing DNA. And as you know, full-time golf teacher, trying to change a golfer's natural way of moving is staggeringly difficult. But trying to build their swing around the way they tend to move, that we can do. Trying to change the way this person just naturally is predisposed to move is a damn war. But if we can look at that guy and use our knowledge of biomechanics and the screens from Mike and EA and go, well, hey, you know what? These couple adjustments right here will let you deliver the club to the ball more consistently and make it much less thinking on your part to do so. That's a pretty good win. But then, even some of our golf pros that I have, other golf professionals that I've taught, they kind of have to get, just like I did, that's the right way to say it, they get the, I like this look of this particular golf swing. You kind of have to lose that. Frankly speaking, I think, Ben Hogan had the best swing ever, but I don't think there's many people that could do it. Although, years ago I might have told you everybody had to do it.
Right.
Well, we keep learning, don't we?
Well, absolutely. And I think, too, that now that because of this knowledge and we're starting to gain the knowledge and understand the stuff that's going on more, it's easier to understand how to go back to actually the way it was years ago. And because when you look at that, everybody pretty much had their own swing. There wasn't 100 guys who played with Ben Hogan trying to be Ben Hogan because Ben Hogan was winning more than they were. They still tried to be themselves and do the best that they could at what they were doing.
Was it good for them not to have video? There could be a case made for that. But I would still say, I think there's a war going on against technology and golf instruction right now. I mean, you're hearing it.
Yeah.
On Golf Channel. And I will be the first to admit that I'm not like one of those announcers that knows actually what the people are thinking when they're playing. I can't figure that one out. But to be able to look back on, the 3D analysis, the biomechanics, or the TrackMan numbers, and like for instance, turns out that if Sean wants to hit a draw with the driver, he can aim dead square, and his path will be between 2 and 4 degrees out to the right. That's useful information.
Sure.
And I'm pretty decent with kind of guessing the path now from 4 years of using TrackMan, but I couldn't tell that without the technology. I think the technology is just making it, in my case, I only know my case, but easier to give what I call caveman golf instruction. Because that's what the information has led to, complete simplification. Now I can use cool words on you if I want, but I don't bother with them. I can't remember them anyway. But you don't have to deliver the information that way at all. That's what Tim Rosafort had called and interviewed me for Golf Channel. And one of his questions was, okay, so what's the difference between you and Foley? And I said, well, I'm taller. And I knew where he was going with it because Sean's getting the rap as a mechanical instructor.
Yeah.
And I said, I said the same thing. I am as technical. I've got all the gizmos in the world. That doesn't mean I have to deliver it technically. I can uncover this stuff and go, oh, do this. It makes it simpler, not more. It's by far less complex. And guess what? I never have to guess.
That's what I think takes is that what you just said. That it takes the guesswork out of everything.
Right.
It makes it easier. It's almost like when a physician takes blood work of a patient, and then they see different levels of what their blood work is. And then now they don't have to guess as much as, well, it might be this, or it could be this that's ailing you, or it could be that. But when they see all those numbers, it gives them the opportunity now to narrow down that field and to better understand, to make a good recommendation based on knowledgeable information that they gathered throughout throughout testing. And it's the same in golf instruction. And I think that, too, when a doctor does it, he's not telling us all those numbers. He's just saying, we need you to do this. We need you to eat more broccoli, and we need you to do to be a little bit more vegan and to not quite eat as much beef and move more into a higher protein diet and do this and do that, as opposed to say, okay, well, this number's this and your cholesterol's this and that. And a lot of times doctors don't get overly complicated. And I think that because they have the technology now and instructors, and somebody like Sean might say something about some numbers or talk about TrackMan, then everybody thinks that all he's doing is being technical, and he might, you know, I don't know Sean personally, but I have a feeling that he's not conveying those numbers as much to the guys that he's working with, unless they ask him to do that.
Right. What it does is you go in and go, okay, so I predict that if we make this adjustment, this path of club is going to move from what it is now to where we want it. Then we get to go test our prediction. And we have objective data that says, that's the right feel. Now, does a guy concentrate on the numbers? Hell no. You concentrate on that feel. That's pretty simple.
Right. And it's no different than if, you know, like we said years ago, they were trying to feel a certain motion, or they were, like Ben Hogan used to dig it out of the dirt, and he knew when it felt right, and that's how he found it. He might have found it a little quicker if he had something that could show him that he was closer to where he wanted to be, and to quantize that, and then use that, find that feel that caused that, and then try to replicate that feel. I know that that's a lot of how I teach my students. When I show them certain things, or I'll with weight shift or ground force or path or any of the things that we're trying to achieve, and I look at some certain things and I'll say, okay, I want you to try to get this center of gravity ball here over here, and now go ahead and make some swings. Forget about the ball, just make some swings. What are you feeling to make that happen? And then they'll start to feel it, and then all of a sudden I'll see it happen. And so, and then we both have verification that what they're trying to do through feel is producing the result that we want to see.
Right. They build their internal representation of correctness. Doesn't that sound cool?
Yeah. That's definitely true. That's very cool. That's a good way to look at it, because only they know and feel these things.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, we can't feel it for them. So with Sean, was that a lot of what you guys were working on, and as in he needed to feel more what he wanted to produce, as opposed to try to before you know, I know that he had a little thing on Golf Channel that he mentioned that he was kind of off the path of things working, because he was getting all kinds of conflicting information from all different people, and he was trying different things, and he was trying to learn more. But I think that he was, you know, this is what I got from what he said. So I mean, and nobody knows him better than you right now. So pretty much what he said, is that kind of what happened to him?
Well, yeah. Is there a guy out there that doesn't want to get better? There isn't. But a lot of times I think we golfers look at better as, my swing's not good enough, I need to do something different with my swing, where we might do, maybe what you need to do is know what you do better and get a little bit better at doing it, period. You know, rather than needing a new swing. I was just talking to somebody this morning, somebody very good, about, you know, Tiger learned a new swing with Foley. During that time, you know, he's on what we would call step one golf, the cause and effect, how to swing, Tiger Woods on how to swing, right? Imagine that. Just imagine it. But going backwards to there, and he did it again, and he did it again. All right, so 3 new swings. maybe this is number 4, right? While he's trying to figure out how to swing a club again, you know what he's not doing? Competing for majors. That's maybe I would have stuck with the old swing. And guess what? I got news for you. I think that any human being that plays as much golf, works out as hard, is going to fall apart. Period. There's no stopping it. Don't waste time learning a new swing in hopes that you might delay it, because it ain't happening. You know, just keep winning majors and retire earlier. That's kind of the way I would have taken that. But guys think it's their swing that's keeping them back, and they don't realize. I guess I thought I could outwork it when I was playing mini tours. I could outwork the bad shot, the black marble we call it, and that didn't work. That sent me into a teaching career. Maybe you're just going to hit. Nicholas said, I'm going to hit 1/3 average, 1/3 great, and 1/3 bad. And I think some of us think that you can outsmart or outwork that bad shot, and it ain't happening.
Well, it's the human experience. And like you said earlier, it's the conditions, and it's the situation and the course that you're on, and there's so many variables, and you know, and that's, I think, what makes people like yourself and myself love the game so much, is because it's so much like life. There's so many variables. You never know what's going to happen next. And you just got to be able to fly by the seat of your pants and do what you can in the situation that you're in, and try the best that you can, because that's really all that you can do. And searching for something that might not really be needed is sometimes not the right path to go down for many players.
And, well, I'll tell you what, when you get out of that play step, you know, where you're really, really good, and you tumble down to the first step, and you really can't play there. And that's, I think, that in Sean's case, we had this discussion, so I'm not talking out of school. We had this discussion that's what he would do, is he would try this swing, try this swing, try this swing, but never work on one thing long enough to master it. And now I'm very happy to say, for 8 months, and he's, jeepers, in 8 months, he's missed 2 cuts, and I'm not even counting Valero as a cut miss, by the way, but that's one of the 2 cuts he missed. But his wave shot 8 shots higher on the 2 days, Friday and Saturday. The guys who played early and late, only 10 guys made the cut the whole week.
Wow.
Yeah, it was impossible. I was there. It was impossible to play golf. But he's made, you know, he's only missed 2 cuts since sticking to a program, and that's,
well, that was like 50-mile-an-hour winds or something, wasn't it, that they were playing? It was like ridiculous.
I saw some things I have not seen on a golf course. I saw a 210-yard 8-iron. 210-yard 8-iron. I saw Sean almost fell over on the first tee. He hit his drive so fat. It was with an iron, but he got hit by a gust of wind and almost fell over on the tee shot. And then Brendan DeYoung hit a sand wedge into the first green downwind, sand wedge, that hit short of the flag and never touched the green again. It one-hopped over the green. It was unplayable. Unplayable. Just crazy. Then the winds were 25 miles an hour less in the afternoon.
Yeah, and that's, too, depending upon when your tee time is. Right. It could be a big reason due to conditions why you might not make a cut, because the playing conditions are almost impossible. And then if you were there at a different tee time, you might have been real lucky and not have run into that.
Yep.
Yeah. So you have some pretty well performing ladies out there too. So when you're working with them, how do you think they approach the game differently than guys do? And is there anything different that you do with them, that, or are you pretty much teaching the same way no matter who they are?
I am certain I use different language with people. I am teaching the same way all the time. I'm helping them learn to develop their skills. You know, now I just put this week's article for the newspaper, is a girl who her club face is very close to the top. And I'm sure that at some point a lot of guys would fix that. You know, but what if I told you she hits every damn fairway and she hits it hard like that? You know, who am I to say that needs to be changed if it works over and over and over and over, right?
Sure.
So I'm doing the exact same thing, and I kind of balance when I need to be a little bit tougher on folks, girl or guy, and when I need to just put my arm around them. That's what we do, right? But I would say that my approach to coaching is, here's a skill set you need to be a competitive golfer. Let's go get them.
Sure. Now you work a lot with juniors too, and I know that the main reason why you ended up at White Manor was because you wanted to do more junior programs. It was a lot more friendly area for you to be in to accomplish that. And how is that going for you? And are you teaching a ton of juniors right now?
Yeah, I'm probably, skip a couple of pros. Probably 90% juniors, which basically speaking, if you are an avid golfer and you really want to get better, I'm in. I don't really care who you are. But I will say that the kids have time to devote to getting further along. So I do prefer the kids. Plus, I'm taller than most of them. But White Manor has been so good to me. It's just what we call it, my place, sick and wrong. I think I'm now given just about 700 on-course hours of lessons a year. I'm on the golf course as much as I can possibly be, because I got to see him doing it in the real field of play. We have a short game area that looks like a double-ended hole. So we play there. So the kids are really they're constantly, there's no lecturing and standing in line. We're having a blast, but they're in competition mode almost all the time. They really like it. Because we're in this mode all the time. My goal is to make it less of a big deal to be in a tournament, because they're used to competing more. So the kids win lots of tournaments. So someone's got to be working,
Right.
It's just not, when I get new kids in the program, they're like, whoa, we haven't seen stuff like this before. And we mix in group practice, which is really like competition practice, with golf lessons. So we go over the golf lesson, with just quick reminders, if you will, so that they're learning to transfer the new motion or skill into a competitive environment. And then we take the same thing right to the golf course, called transfer practice. Cool stuff.
Real cool stuff. So a lot of the stuff that they're doing, if they're always in competition, like you said, then when it's time for them to be in competition, they're in their comfort zone because that's what they're doing all the time.
That's what I'm trying to do, man. Where's Fred Couples' safest place? Between the ropes.
Yeah.
He's most comfortable there, or at the couch, on the couch, right? But anywhere else, he's uncomfortable. Yeah. So I'm trying to do that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Well, look, John, we're kind of running against the clock here. It was absolutely a pleasure having you. Thanks so much for taking the time out. I really appreciate it. And
thanks for having me. I'm very, very happy to be here. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, it's great to have you. So for the people who don't know you personally, okay, but would like to have the opportunity to pick your brain or maybe take a lesson with you or just ask some advice from you, what is the best way that they can get in touch with you for our listeners out there in Par Nation?
Right on my website, johndunigan.com. You'll find all the information. It's DUNIGAN.com, John Dunigan, with an H. And go right through there. I've got all kinds of stuff on the website. I have a huge blog with, a huge number of articles, where I'm giving the stuff away for having a YouTube channel, just as you have, with a whole bunch of some really cool stuff on there. But ball flight laws, there's on my website. Please, people, download. It's right somewhere on my website in the homepage, down below the center of it. You can download the Get to Know Golf article I wrote on understanding ball flight. And then I had a ball flight test and answer key. They're all 3 PDFs. Because if you don't understand step 1, why the ball goes where it goes, you are in a heap of trouble. And, frankly, I get students on a routine basis, even ones that have had years of lessons, but they don't understand why the ball's going where it goes. And that is dangerous. What do you do? Now you don't know that, well, the ball's taking off to the right because your club face is 6 degrees open, but you don't know that. Where do you go? You hope you guess right.
Yeah.
So we'd rather take that out. So that will help. It's all over the world, those things. Gosh, thousands of folks have it. And you just take it. Doing my part.
You always are, John. So you always are, man. I mean, it's like you got a lot of passion, and it's you're a great role model for so many people out there, who young instructors up and coming, and kids and players alike, just to be able to have that kind of passion for the game and just keep going at it, and you never quit.
Well, it's part of our deal. By the way, I do, if there are golf pros watching this, I have an awful lot of people come up and they'll hang out with me for a day and watch me teach, and then I'll talk to them about why I've done stuff. I'm trying to get the PGA to give continuing education credits for going and observing somebody. I don't, for the goodness sakes, I don't know why we wouldn't give those away for that. So hopefully we'll get that eventually. That way they're even more encouraged to do it. But there's a whole bunch of us that are just absolutely thrilled to help younger or any other older. I don't care what the age is. I might say something differently than you would. You might say something differently than me.
Yep.
And I steal from everybody still. It's what is it? Amateurs borrow and professionals steal.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's kind of like I'm looking at that guitar behind you on the wall there, and musicians are very much like that too. They take a little bit and they're inspired, by different things, and then they take that and they turn it into something else, and
right.
It's something all and then it's part of their legacy and what they do. So, and that's a mentoring program in the PGA, or even not in the PGA. It's a great thing, and for people out there who are interested in that, for those listeners who are wanting to get better at instruction, take guys up like what John is saying. Take them up on that, and myself too, and anybody else that and that's another reason why we have this show, is that so that we can all learn from each other. Everybody looks at things different, and 2 heads are always better than 1.
I agree. Well, thank you, sir. I'm sure I'll see you very soon.
You definitely will. I'm going to pop by sometime this season to take you up on what you just said and observe you, because I would love to observe some of the stuff you're doing with juniors, and just hang out, and because you're such a pleasure to be around. So so as we say here at Breaking Par, until we meet again, John, try to keep it in the short grass.
Will do. You too. Be well.
All right. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Now you can take control of your game right now from your smartphone, tablet, or desktop. Just go to www.parbreakers.com/e-learning. That's www.parbreakers.com/e-learning. Your game will thank you for it.